We have with us in the studio Danny Wanyanwu, who is the national chairman of Zenith Labour Party, and his party escaped the big axe of INEC. How did you manage to do that?
Thank you, Marque. Well, hard work. Zenith Labour Party was the last political party among the 23 parties that was registered before the election. Okay. In fact, we are the last to pick our certificates. So we were 23, and we went into work, mobilizing people, identifying areas of strength, because the time was not there. It was less than 4 weeks for the process of primaries to commence. So what a political party was expected to do at that time was to look at the areas that you can easily pick votes. Because this law was there in 2018. Some of my colleagues have been in error by saying that it was smuggled, it was made by this President Senate and all that. They didn't know about it. That is not correct. That law, that amendment was done when Dr. Bukola Saraki was president of the Senate. In fact, Ike Ekweremadu, PhD, was chairman of the committee, Constitutional Amendment Committee. And I drew the attention of members, both in IPAC and in others. Look, I said, this law is there. Let us go and work hard. If we can't work hard, let us all put our resources together and reduce the number of parties. But you see, people are interested in answering chairman, secretary, national chairman, national secretary of nothing, than being an ex-officio of something. In our last meeting with INEC, before Kogi election, I spoke to ourselves, INEC present. I told them what we are doing has become a joke, a huge joke.
That's the political party.
Political parties. Every party was there. I spoke for about 10 minutes. I said, you leave your parties, you won't go and work, you wait for a presidential candidate to emerge somewhere, you negotiate, put yourself in an organization like a trade union, and abandon your parties. It is true and it is correct that over 70 political parties in Nigeria before the registration had no office in Abuja.
Even in Abuja?
Even in Abuja. That is the law. You must have office in Abuja.
So you are in total support of the decision of INEC?
I have been clamoring for this, and I'm not clamoring for it for selfish reasons. I'm even asking INEC, through the National Assembly, which they must do quickly, to prune us down the more.
Wow.
It will make us work hard. And if Zenith Labour Party becomes a victim of that pruning, so be it. We must find accommodation somewhere. Where do I say that? We must strengthen the democracy. We are confusing the electorate. We have left power for PDP and APC, to the extent that Nigerians, when they are voting, well, it's either PDP or APC. So it will be difficult for a third force. But if we have lesser political parties, Nigerians have seen the underbelly of PDP and APC. So they could try another political party, maybe third, fourth, fifth party. But when you have 91 political parties, it is not possible for power to move from the two political parties. Okay. So that is people say, okay, because you crossed and all that. No, we worked hard, we won seats, and that's why we crossed.
You're saying INEC make the conditions even more stringent. What more do you want to see? What more hurdles do you want political parties to be able to cross to make them stronger?
Before I come to that point, you see, most of my colleagues are hinging the reasons for the registration for not winning elections. Yes. We were verified on December 2nd, 2019. So almost all the political parties had their dates from 2nd up to a week before Christmas. So they came to the office, they saw the office, they saw the staff. INEC sent 9 officers to my office for verification, each one taking notes. We brought in our national executive to Abuja, those that were not in Abuja. They saw our booths of account.
You opened it up to them.
I opened everything up. But I told them before they left that it will be wrong for you to judge other political parties by the infrastructure you have seen in Zenith Labour Party office.
Why?
Because we have been there for some time. And if you are judging apart from APC and PDP, you can't have such infrastructure. We are IT compliant. So I said, don't judge other parties by what you are saying here. Judge them according to what the limits of their capacity. So all these things they did in all parties. And because of the verification, it was discovered some didn't have an office. Some didn't have the geographical spread of at least 24 members of the National ESCO from different parts of different states of Nigeria. So it's not just the election you lost. The verification is there. So it is in the Constitution. They refer to, it has been done before, we have set it aside. Yes, that was the Bilal Musa's case, which Ganifa Emi, of blessed memory, took up. Then it was in the Act. The court said, no, the Act cannot override the Constitution. Now the amendment has been made, it is in the Constitution. So let us not overbloat the political. Yes, they are telling us that there are so number of political parties in America, in India, in all those places. Do we behave like those political parties in America and in India?
Let us go to Lagos now and take more questions from my colleagues. Gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Mark. But now, this process that INEC just concluded has brought up a lot of issues. I mean, we listened to some of these political parties bear their mind. And I think also another major issue here is the talk around voter apathy. Because some of these parties say, well, they try their best, but when election day comes, I mean, they get low voter turnout because of security issues. They say some of their, party faithfuls or supporters are threatened. So eventually they don't come out, and that's what has led to this. So, the registration aside, are we really focusing on the other talk about, voter apathy, voter turnout, talk about security during election? Because that's also another major issue that affects, the conduct of election in this country.
Yes, that should be, in my view, the responsibility of every stakeholder in the political arrangement. INEC has a lot to do on voter education. Political parties has a lot to do. Civil society organizations. But the problem is, we still talk about the handicap of most of these parties, which led, I've just spoken about not having offices, not having geographical spreads, not operating like a political party. It is also because of funding. The truth is that most of these young political parties do not have the funds available to PDP and APC. They have been in government. They can call any governor to send 50, 100 million naira. That will be done in the Griffey. And it doesn't exist in the other political parties. So it's a continuous process. All stakeholders will have to be involved, but more particularly, I think INEC should have a special budget for that, so that from time to time, they move from zone to zone, if possible state to state, to educate the electorate. The need for them to show more interest. If you are not interested in politics, that you don't care, politics will be interested in what you are doing. I recall some years ago when I was in Lagos during the governorship in Anambra, and I was talking to the traders. I said, look, you have always said, no, we are not interested. I bring in 100 containers in a week or a month, blah, 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 blah. I said, no, you're making a mistake. One political decision will make you not to bring one in a year. So you better go and join politics. Use your votes to change the situation. But immediately this thing started, some of them started calling me, you said it, you said. I said, look, we must be involved. The problem is most Nigerians have lost faith in the political democratic arrangements we have, simply because when they cast their votes, they expect a particular candidate to win. He may win in the wards and the polling units, but along the line, the votes are changed. And when you are calling them, they say, what of the one we did before? But we have to continue to talk to them. so that they can be part and parcel of the process.
How big would you say the drive is now for political parties to be very involved in the grassroots? Yes, you have said that the criteria, and INEC has also repeated that the criteria they use is not just about political parties' ability to win elections.
Yeah.
But the reason why a lot of political parties exist are to win elections. And it would be fair to actually say that a lot of state governments have not conducted local government elections. How do you think that political parties can ensure that politics get to the grassroots in spite of all the hurdles they see on their way?
You see, on the issue of local government elections in the states, for more than 7 years, we've been advocating for INEC to take over the process too. They say, no, it's another arm of government. I say, no. If you continue the way we have been doing it with the governors, no other political party will win anything in the state. It's good now, it's going back to INEC by the processes we have started. If that had come in 2015...
That's the local government elections are going back to INEC?
Yes, INEC
in the constitutional
Yes, they are working on it now. The process is on to return it back to INEC. If that had been the position in 2015, most of these deregistered political parties would have won councillorship, local government chairman, across the states. But what you find before then, the governors, no matter what happened in the field, they'll just get to the government house, slot the names, and announce it by the state INEC. That is what it is. It needs a lot of education. You
don't see any opposition to that, considering just how influential governors are with their lawmakers?
What do you mean by opposition? You mean fighting it?
Yes,
of course. You can't do that. If you go to court, the judiciary is by the state. You can't do much. So most people who participate in such elections will just say, well...
What I'm saying is fighting the change, because states will complain that is whittling down their powers and that is, you know, taking us back away from a federation. We are supposed to be a federation.
Yeah, I agree. And we can take care of that when we are talking about electronic system of voting. We can change these things. At times they refer to America, refer to India, as I told you. We don't behave like Americans. We don't behave like the Indians. We don't have patriotism like them.
How do you measure that? How do you
just a minute. Just Ghana here. A lady at the polling unit was interviewed, presiding officer. He said, I want to give you money to do this and all that so that you can towards the elections. She said, no. She beat her chest, not for Mother Ghana. That cannot happen here. It cannot happen here.
I don't know if you're speaking from experience. A lot of people will say that
I am in the field. Yes.
I am in the field.
At times you sit down and you watch these things, you can't change it. So what we have to do is to devise a means where Magwe will stay in channels on a working day, cast her vote, it gets into our next server. We don't have to shut down the economy because we want to go and vote.
Well, I'm sure that these issues and more will certainly come up in the days to come, but we have to thank you for sharing your thoughts this morning on matters arising with the deregistration of political parties. Daniel, thank you for coming on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you for having me.
He's the national chairman of Zenith Labour Party.